Hey, what's up, gun nuts? It's Ferrari Steve, and today I'm going to walk you through field stripping a Sig Sauer P229. Now, unfortunately, this is not my P229. It belongs to my friend Jared, who was kind enough to let me borrow it for this video. But boy, I love it, and I'm sure he's going to expect it back soon, but maybe I'll just take my sweet time. Who knows? Anyway, let's do a quick safety check on it. Eject the magazine, lock open the slide, visually inspect, manually inspect, and we know that the gun is safe. Now, if you're looking at this P229 and saying, boy, that sure looks a lot like a P226, you are not crazy. It does look a lot like the P226 because, in fact, it follows that same general design. The P226 predates the P229, but I like to say that the P229 is the little brother of the P226 in the same way that the Glock 19 is the little brother of the Glock 17. You've got the full-sized duty carry pieces and the compact, but still large enough to be used for professionals. In fact, the 229 is carried by the Coast Guard, and I believe the Homeland Security ICE, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Group, carries the P229, and I know there are some police that also carry the P229. This one is chambered in 40 cal, and what's interesting about the P229, it was designed to be able to manage the 40 caliber round, as well as being the first handgun to shoot 357 Sig. Now, on the 40 caliber versions, which this one is, if you look on the magazine, you see P229, 40 and 357. You could use the same magazine to shoot 357 Sig and 40 cal. The only thing you needed to change out was the barrel. And as we break this down, I'll show you just how simple that is. So let's break this gun down. We've already ejected the magazine. Lock open the slide with your slide lock. Get the takedown lever, pop it down, hold onto your slide, release the slide stop, and then just pull the frame out from under the slide. Simple as that. Now, while I've got the frame and the slide apart, we'll take a little intermission here to talk about kind of the hybrid nature of this vintage P229. So here on the frame, you'll see made in Germany. The frame is aluminum. It's lightweight, but still metal. And again, it says made in Germany. It does not say made in West Germany. The older SIGs would have said made in West Germany because West Germany and East Germany were not unified at that time, and so that's why it would have said that. So the serial number on this starts with an AE. It puts this gun at a 1995 vintage. So at that time, the frames in aluminum were still being made in Germany, while the slides were being made here in the US of A in Exeter, New Hampshire. So we'll put the frame aside for now. Let's look at this slide before we take it down even more. You notice it says stainless on it. Now, a lot of times, most of these were coated in nitron. It would have been black, but Jared's got a really sweet two-tone here in the original stainless, which is just gorgeous. The P228, which preceded the P229, the P229 was designed to replace the P228. The P229 was made out of stamped steel, or the slide was made out of stamped steel. The problem was, as SIG was moving towards supporting the 40 caliber round and the 357 SIG round, the slide velocity was going to be faster with the beefier round, and therefore, if you were going to use that stamped steel receiver, they would have had to put a really heavy recoil spring in there, which would have been too heavy to manually actuate in order to keep up with that increased slide velocity. So on the P229, they milled these slides out of stainless rather than just stamping them, and the more beefy slide is able to keep up with that 40 cal and 357 Sig slide velocity without having to go to a spring that was too hard to manage. So you still get a manageable spring tension, but still be able to manage that increased velocity. So I think that's interesting about why that's one of the primary reasons why they decided to go with a milled slide. It just gives it a nice, heavy, substantial feel, right? So to get the slide assembly apart, push in with your thumb to put a little bit of tension on it, and see, not a lot of spring tension. If they'd had to support the heavier rounds on the 228, that would have been harder to get out. And push up on the barrel, pull it out. There you go. You can pull the spring off of the recoil spring guide here, but This isn't my gun, so I don't want to do that. I don't want to make the spring wonky at all. And it's a little tight here, so I don't want to get in there and pry it out. The spring is one of the things that you want to keep an eye on and make sure it's formed properly. It's not misshapen. It's one of the items that will wear the quickest on a Sig, especially if you get a decent round count in there. They're cheap to replace, very easy to slide this one off and put it back on. So keep an eye on your springs and take good care of them. Putting it back together, you grab your slide, grab your barrel, pop it in, lock it back in place, take your spring, I like to actually sit it down here, compress the spring with a little bit of pressure, drop it down where it locks right there on the barrel, and then you're ready to put it back on your frame. Find the end of your frame, again like the 226, not like the Glocks. The Glocks, it's about a third of the way up on the frame, but with the Sigs, go all the way to the end of the frame, slide it all the way back, manually lock your slide, hit your takedown lever, and drop your slide, and decock. And there you go. Your P229 is taken apart and put back together. This is a sweet, sweet, sweet gun. Thank you, Jared, for letting me borrow it for this video. You know, get out there, practice with your guns. Get your guns dirty. Don't get your friends' guns dirty. I mean, you can as long as you bring it back cleaner, I guess. I don't think Jared would mind if I give it back to him clean. But don't be afraid to get out there and practice. Make sure that the first time you need to use your gun is not the first time you have used your gun. So get out there, get them dirty, take them apart, put them back together. Don't be afraid to learn and teach yourself using your gun. It's just a tool. It shouldn't be scary. If you like what you see, please subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Get out there and have fun with your Sig, or your buddy's Sig.